Hello, hello, hello. Nice to see everyone today. Happy Sunday. We are going to be joined by Tanrak as well as Kelly talking about intro to mindfulness, breath work, and beyond. Give us a second, make yourself comfortable while we get connected. I am also going to put a comment in. Oh, excellent. Let me get Kelly. Let's see. Is it going to connect? There it goes. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Nice to see you both.
Nice to
Um,
see you both.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. I am Lauren with Me Too Many Voices, and this is part of the MTMV and Friends for the Community by the Community series. Today, I am honored to be joined by Tanrak, who runs Yoga with Tanrak, the page here on Instagram. Check it out if you have not already. She is a registered 200-hour yoga teacher, a certified therapeutic art coach, and a nursing student. She offers gentle vinyasa, yin, and restorative yoga classes, as well as therapeutic art coaching with the intent to spread awareness of the mind to body connection and a space for people who went through sexual trauma to feel safe, support, love, comfortable, and empowered in their own body. That sounds pretty
Hey,
good to me.
yeah, thank you for opportunity to be able to talk on this platform today. So,
Uh, my pleasure, and thank you, Kelly, for providing access for us this afternoon as well. Um, I am going to pass it over to Tanrak to introduce herself a little bit further. I will also put a comment in, well, the comments that breath work mindfulness can be really, really great. And life-changing for survivors, but for some it can not feel right or safe or comfortable right now. And that is okay. Don't ever try to force it. Safety first, always. So I'll put a note in the comment as well to
thank
remind
you.
us. But yeah, thanks for being here, Tanrak.
Thank you, Lauren. A little bit more about myself beside the introduction that Lauren just gave to us. I recently just got accepted to nursing school, but before that, I served in the United States Army for about 7 years. I discovered yoga through, I guess, the period of my life where I was at the most depressing level. And with that, I decided to try yoga one day out of curiosity and from invitation from my friends. And that's how I got started. I decided to dig into deeper level of yoga study and decide to pursue yoga certification and also all the yin restorative along with art therapeutic coaching certificate just because I feel like those modalities has helped me becoming more whole and have helped me recover from being through sexual assault survivor at the age of 15. So it's been a long journey for me to come through this moment. I decided to pursue that just because when I did went through sexual assault experience, I didn't know I was actually assault, and then I didn't really discover how much of trauma or repeated traumas can cause and encapsulate into my bodies until it manifested 2 or 3 years ago. So I decided to use yoga as a way to bridging my sides of guilty and shameful into becoming and realizing that that happened and I accepted that happened, but also to take power back into my story and take ownership of what happened and really relearning story as a survivor instead of the one who did the wrong thing. So it's been a quiet journey. I did took yoga online through online yoga school, and also took a transit sexual trauma through yoga by Zabi Yamasaki, which I found those courses to be really helpful for me to discover myself again. So yeah, so my a little bit of myself, but I just got discharged from military last year, and now I'm just getting ready to start nursing school. So it's a long story.
Thank you for sharing all of that and being so vulnerable. And it's always nice to hear when a survivor finds a path for recovering or coping skills that are helping. And it sounds like the yoga and the mindfulness really was life changing. So I'm glad that you were able to find that. And I'm glad you're going to talk to us about it a little bit today, too.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of mindfulness. It's about maintaining awareness in the present to present moment. So it's really important, guess for me when I went through my recovery or my healing journey, because I feel like as a survivor, you tend to, well, I tend to just numbing my feelings and keep moving. That's how my mentality when I was in the military. I just numb those feelings inside of me and just keep moving on without taking a breath and noting the trauma that manifested in my body. And I think mindfulness is really important healing modality for me to coming back into my bodies and noting any sensation and any awareness and feelings. Because a lot of time when stress is compiled, I personally found myself just compiling all this emotion and unpack it into like a treasures and put it inside my body and never facing it. And it wasn't until I did my first yoga classes through my friend, and that's when I realized that I really need to face the issue and my trauma and experience when I was 15. And with me not really reclaiming my stories and not really digging into it, it's really manifesting and show up through like my relationship with my partner, relationship with my friends, and at work. So I think mindfulness to be in the present moment rather than thinking about the past or recognize that you are here in the now as you take a breathing is very important to bring your nervous system back to the present moment. And with that, along with that, the difference between mindfulness and meditation, most of the time people like to mix those two together, but meditation, we did it for a certain amount of time, right? But mindfulness is more about bringing yourself into present moment at any time, any moment whatever you are doing, either by using and different anchors of variety of anchors to hold yourself in the present moment, or just feel the sensation of your feet on the ground. And for that, it was difficult when I first started. I have a lot of flashback when I did my breath work, and I found it was really difficult for me just to take and sit quiet for like 5 minutes and focusing on my feet. So I would encouraging everyone who willing to try to just be patient with themselves. A lot of our traumas or stress store in our fascia, our muscles, our bones. And in order to access that, we really have to be patient and be really perceptive and be aware of our just our emotion, any trigger that response that you may have when you start breath work. Um, Besides that, breath work also help lower your blood pressure and lower your heart rate. I found that's really beneficial for survivors, especially if you, for those of us who've been through trauma and realize we were assaulted in the past, and we become directly facing the fact that we really went through it and we didn't realize that we were violated. I think to me that's really important. I think a lot of time at first when you discover when you're assaulted, you kind of feel ashamed, like you really think it was your fault. And when I decided to start breathwork, as I realized, it's like a discover that the emotion, like that anguish, that sadness, that scare moment that you went through it, and you realize that your boundaries were violated. And with breathwork, it bringing me back into the present moment by just taking a breath and feeling like the earth, and feel like I used to have like a stone in my hand, and whenever I get like anxious or nervous, I feel like I got thrown back into the past. I usually using different anchors to like return to my breath and then remember the sensation of what wherever I am. And also I also use art as a way of like expressing my feelings. And we can go into it more, but I believe as a survivors, we have a lot of stuff that we have to unpack. And it's really a tender and really sensitive moment to dig deeper into that level. And it's really complicated to express into words. Like when I first start therapy through the military, I don't know how to put into words. Like I actually have to write it down along with using different color to throw down that moment. But I use different color to represent my emotion. So like red for anger, um, deep blue for like my sadness, and just sit with that those directly facing my trauma experience and actually unpack that 7 or 8 years of burying that in deep into my low and then unpack it slowly. It's really been helpful because a lot of stored trauma can impact in your nervous system in the long run. And with people with survivors, a lot of your emotion was your your part of the brain, which you call amygdala, which is our alarm system in the brain, stuck in the past. And sometimes a little events may trigger your brain into thinking into fight or flight mode. Yeah, so a lot of survivors will have the nervous system stuck into the sympathetic nervous system for a long, long time, which I didn't know about that until now. Like as I read and pursue this yoga teaching, I realize how this work, these modalities can be really helpful for survivors to uncover the most tender moment or the most vulnerable moment in their life. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of that. That's so much information and so impactful. We had a couple of comments coming in. I just want to check in. Someone wrote, I've just finished reading The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk and found that really educational, and he really encourages what you're talking about here. Yeah,
Oh
that
yes.
goes into a lot.
Yeah, I almost finished with his book, and it's really when he said the body keeps the score, that's really like really mean it, like because a lot of as I pursue this study, like a lot of our traumas like really encapsulate into our body. So different part of the body, like, and it's a bit different for every survivor. Like for me, it's maturity of my trauma happened down in my, around in my pelvic area. So when I first started my mindfulness work practice, that's take some time for me to like be able to be comfortable and just be able to access that area and without pushing my pain away. And now it's been easier, but it's still taking some time for me to actually be comfortable and be able to talk about my experience. So uh,
Yeah, you can tell that you've been putting in the work. It still takes a lot of work. Um,
yeah, it's the especially like when I first um going through that, I guess the meltdown, or that's when my sympathetic nervous system is really hit the fan. I didn't realize it's all connected to what I experienced when I was 15 years old. And It's it's really when I start learning about the nervous system and how trauma can affect it. Now I recognize the sign and the cue that my body's giving me, which I tend to ignore. Um, and going through the military wasn't the easiest for me to like be able to stuff that passed away while going through the mentality of go 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 and work, that all the hustle. So it wasn't hit the fan till like the last 2 years before I exit my services. That's when a lot of stuff happening, and with Vanessa Gulen's story and what happened to her kind of triggered a little bit aside that side of me to come up and start pursuing getting therapy. And it's a really helpful combination of therapy, yoga, breathwork, and mindfulness in order to bringing myself back from that mentality of, oh, you need to numb your feeling in order to leave, into like being able to face that trauma and be able to understand the cue that my body was giving me when I suffered through that, and be able to just looking at from the gentle, more calming perspective, the perspective lens, and understanding my body more. Um, yeah, it's 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 something that I would always recommend for all survivors, but also to be able for all the survivors to just take it, be patient, and know the signs, recognize what the cue that their body is telling them to do so. Because a lot of time, a lot of survivors like myself tend to numb my feelings, my emotion that's stored in the body and stuff it away. And when we unpack those feelings and the cues this body's been telling you to rest, is take quite a power and energy. And
I'm wondering how breath work and mindfulness can help you get more connected with your body so you can listen to those cues and trust those cues.
so with mindfulness and breath work is teaching you to be activating your parasympathetic nervous system. So it's allowing you to bringing your nervous system down from the sympathetic nervous system to parasympathetic nervous system, and with that, it's allowing your mind to get in touch with your body. Because when we are in that fight or flight mode, we won't know how does it feel to be in that pain level. When you're in fight or flight mode, there's tendency for you to be in survival mode at all times. So your tendency to be like to recognize your cue that your body is giving you when you're in pain is not there. So when would that happen? Mindfulness work is there for to help bring that you into that parasympathetic nervous system, and then as you come into that mode, you'll be able to assess the buried emotions and any grudges and trauma. And when you relax your body, when you start your mindfulness and breath work, and your body start to relax, then that may trigger some of the trauma that may occur, like if you were violent when you're in relaxed state, right? So in order to uncover that, it may be difficult for some. So I always say mindfulness is not one size fit all component. It may take some time for you to assess that. It may take five. Like for me, it's always different for everyone and how you feel. Um, I always encouraging like if you start mindfulness and breath work to take a lot of breaks. I think it's important to once you start being silent with your emotion and listen to what your body had to say. Sometimes it may become overwhelming for some people who just started. So I was telling or advising my client just to take a break and find different anchors that they can use throughout their journey. It doesn't have to be sitting or just be mindfulness for like 10 or 15 minutes there. That's so impossible. And our nervous system cannot function in the safety mode at all time. It tends to fluctuate from ups and downs, but our nervous system is so intelligent that we have to learn to regulate it, those systems, and mindfulness and breathwork is the key to help us regulate our nervous system. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and that someone wrote a comment, which I think you answered whether you realized it or not. Someone wrote, I did some breathing exercises and it does help with anxiety, but it made me cry and I wasn't sure why. When you have to function, it's not super convenient to be doing that. Absolutely. And it makes sense though, because with trauma and with when we're in survival mode, our body is constantly, as Tanrak was saying, in that fight or flight, we're in survival mode. And often that comes with a lot of our non-essential body functions shutting down, us tensing up a lot. And we got used to that norm. And so it may not feel safe to let go of some of that because the body thinks that's the safe survival mode. But in actuality, the safe parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, that stage doesn't feel safe anymore.
And yeah, it's the same reaction that I got from starting breathwork. When I first starting it, meditation has always been hard for me. I'm Buddhist myself, so meditation's always in my practice as I grew up. But when I start mindfulness during the second year before I left the military, just sitting in my bedroom and closing my eye was really scary. I remember I couldn't I just have to keep my eyes open and really using like a stress ball. I think that's kind of helped me anchors my feeling, and taking about inhaling through the nose and out through the mouth. And I use like the numbers to help me keep in check. I help my momentum going. And during the second breath, I'm kind of like I get my I remember my anxiety started to pick up, and I feel like like the shame and the guilt that store in my body started coming up from that experience. And after that happened, after I take that minutes to do mindfulness, and actually like, oh, I've been pushing myself too hard. Now it's time for me to facing my emotion. I start drawing in my art books and letting go of like all my feelings that I have when I went through it. And with combination of therapy, it's it wasn't that like the last month before I left that I'm like, okay, I finally feel like I can talk about my experience and be able to implement more breath work into my practice along with yoga. And that's what propelled me to like pursue yoga certification and become certified as a yoga instructor. So
You brought up something that I think is so important to that I think a lot of people don't realize, that that there is a difference between like relaxation exercises and mindfulness, and that a lot of relaxation exercises, you close your eyes and you are taking yourself even further away from the present. With mindfulness and grounding work, it's I know you spoke about it in the beginning, but it's anchoring yourself to the present. It's bringing yourself back, distancing yourself from some of the overwhelming things potentially from the past, reminding yourself that you are in the present. I would love for you to, you feel up for leading us in an exercise?
Oh, sure. That's I'm ready. I'm sure. If anyone
Excellent.
wants to join, feel free to.
And remember, if it does not feel safe, it may not be safe for you to access that, and that's okay. Don't force it. Safety first, always. There's other
All right.
tools in the toolbox
Mhm.
other than these.
All right, so we can start it. So find any comfortable seat that you may have. Just make yourself really comfy on your chair or wherever you are. And I invite you to relax into the chair and feel the sensation of your body on the chair. You don't need to close your eyes, so you can keep your eyes open. It's your choice. The choice is yours to keep your eyes open or remain closed with your eyes. Taking this moment to feel attention, feel the sensation of your feet on the ground. Maybe wrinkle your toes, feeling that toes on the ground, connecting with the present moment and noting your breath. Feel the support of the floor and the chair underneath your body. Noting your breath. No need to make any changes. Just noting that you are breathing right now in current moment. As you take an inhale and exhale at your own pace, maybe asking yourself this question: are you breathing through your nose? Are you breathing through your mouth? Or are you breathing slowly or quickly? There are no right or wrong answer here. Just as you inhale and exhale on your own pace, just make observation on your breath. Noting the pace of your breathing, starting by counting the length of your inhale, and as you exhale, don't change. Just noting what your breath is giving you. Maybe you feel comfortable to inhale for 3 counts and exhale for 3 counts, and that is absolutely okay. Take this moment to, as you inhale and exhale, to noting each part of your body that is placed on the chair or wherever you are. Do gentle movement with your wrists and your hands, maybe rotating your wrists and your hands as you inhale, and as you exhale, facing your palm up toward the sky. Asking yourself or ensuring yourself as you come into the center of your body that you are here. If you feel like you're losing your breath or losing the pace of your breathing, just let them go and refocusing yourself on the sensation of your feet on the ground or your bottom on the chair. That is absolutely okay. There is no right or wrong answer as we practice this mindfulness. If you have tried to inhale for 3 and exhale at a count of 3, maybe encouraging yourself to increase the count or reducing it or keeping it the same. The choice is yours. Feel free to keep breathing as you are and simply notice your breathing as you inhale and exhale. As you inhale and exhale, notice that you are here in the now, present with your breath. Bring your attention back to your feet, now to your belly, and now to your heart. Now to your head, and inhale and exhale at your own pace. If your eyes are closed, feel free to open them. If your eyes are open, feel free to notice any object or anything that present in your environment. Feel free to use your hands, placing your palms on top of your heart and the other palm on top of your belly. Feel the sensation of your heartbeat. As you sit in the present moment, just feel the warmness that radiates from underneath your palms, that placing on top of your heart. As you exhale, just feel the belly drawing in toward your spine. As we come into a final moment together in this mindfulness, taking an inhale at your own pace, and as you exhale, reminding yourself that you are here, you are safe, and you are loved. And that is it. I hope that's helpful. It's a simple, no, I think in the beginning it's it's better to start with a small count of numbers rather than start with a big chunk of number when you count your breathing for inhalation and exhalation. I usually see people do 4, 6, 4, and I think it's 262. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But it's always up to the choice of my clients to pick whatever they feel like is comfortable for them. But whenever my clients feel like they are out of, or they feel like they feel triggered in that mindfulness moment, I always remind them to feel sensation of where they are. It's so easy to get drawn back into the past while you're doing it. So, like Roland speaking in the beginning, it is really your safety is the most priority. So be gentle with your mind, your body, and your spirit as you practice that. I find it's helpful just to have something that makes me happy, I guess. I used to have like a jar, and this is the practice I got from when I went through Zabi Yamasaki training. So you can get a jar. It's called safety jar, but basically you put stuff that makes you happy into the jar, and you decorate it, and that represents your safety, right? So, I want to show you, but it's far away from my reach right now. But you can decorate the jar to represent your safety in this jar. And whenever you practice mindfulness, and if you feel like you get pulling back into the past, or you feel triggered by your breathing, you can always look at the jar and feel that as a representative of your safety, like come back into the present. And usually I like to put the safety jar as something that remind me of my inner child, like my drawing and some decoration that remind me of like I am still loved by a lot of people. Like I have some of my husband made me some like little flower, and I put that in the safety jar to represent his love for me. Oh, really, really nice too. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So here's my safety jar. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
wow. Thank you for
So yeah,
sharing that.
it's not my idea. I want to thank Zavi for showing me like this idea, but this is a tool, one of the tool like for people who like to do art. You can always get a safety jar, and this it's really affordable purchase. It doesn't cost you much, but you can put a lot of stuff in there that represent the journey in your healing. So I have my crystal, my flower, and a lot of stuff that remind me of happy things. And whenever you feel like you are in that moment during mindfulness or during breathwork, that you feel like you've got pulled in the past, you can always reaching into your safety jar and pick a stuff that makes you happy. So
Yeah, I want to make a safety jar, and I'm seeing
I
a
mean,
lot of the comments coming in saying safety jar is a lovely idea. I'll do it too. Other people shared that they really liked the breathwork exercise that you led.
oh,
I concur with their sentiments. It was really impactful, and it's funny because we talk about it's easy as breathing, like breath is so easy, but
yeah.
it's not, because
Yes.
we get into these patterns of holding our breath and holding our body as
Hmm.
a way of safety, and it's not that easy. I kept finding myself getting distracted and then like staying in it, but towards the end, I felt like it took a little less energy, I guess, to have to keep rerouting myself back into the exercise. And um, you led it with such a good cadence and pace.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
I can tell you're very good at what you do.
Yeah, it's I did thank you for your kind words. It's just this is always my work. I guess all my long-term goal is to using my nursing career and merge it with my yoga and trauma-informed practice, and hopefully I'll be able to offer a trauma-informed yoga here locally, because I think this is something that can benefit to all survivors. Um, Trauma, cancer, all types of survivors can be benefit from this practice.
Um, we are getting close to the end. I'm wondering if anybody has any other questions or comments. Feel free to put them in the comment box. Well, we see if anybody does have any other comments, questions, anything else that you can think of that you want to share with us today?
Um, no, just my healing as a survivor is not a linear journey. It's always up and down, and there's no right or wrong way to, I guess, approaching your own type of healing. Um, I I would just love to share this as a self a self-care tool to be added to your toolbox. Not necessarily you have to stick with this modality at all time. For some, might be a combination of therapy and maybe yoga along with this helpful for their journey. For some, might be drawing and painting. I'm just really passionate with a lot of different modalities, and I think combination of art, yoga, breathwork, mindfulness is a really good beneficial tool that I find that everyone can be benefit from it. So
Thank you for that wisdom and your insight, and thank you for sharing as much as you did with us today. I
oh,
really
thank you.
enjoyed this, and I feel like I learned a lot. And thank you, everyone, for joining us
Thank
today
you.
on your Sunday.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Kelly, for your platform. It's really like a dream come true. I guess when you reach out to me, I just like, oh, I feel like nervous and exciting to be able to share, and because this is like a uh a long time work and long time healing journey, which is because your platform has already offered me a lot of insight into uh reminders like why I start yoga. I think and why I start Breathwork and why I start pursuing it more as like my own healing practice. And with what you do for survivors, really thank you on behalf of all the survivors out there. I just think that it should be talked about more, especially in this time period. Um, Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Tanrak. And if people want to work with you or find out more about your work and keep up to date, where would we go to find you?
Uh, the most up to date you can get from me is from my Instagram at yoga with Tanrak. Or you can follow Lawrence too. She posts the picture of me smiling and her and tag me there. So if you need to find me, you can always click on the picture. That's where you will find me, and you can contact me through the Instagram, or you can email me through catwholearn@gmail.com. All my website is also on my bio if you're interested in practice more with me.
Excellent. Thank you, Tanrak. Thank you, Kelly. I do have a screen of some resources and helplines that I'm going to share on my screen. It is a full screener, so I am going to say goodbye to you both now so I can put it up. Again, thank you all for being here. I'm Lauren with Me Too Many Voices, and this is part of the MTMV and Friends for the Community by the Community series, and we were joined by Tanrak and Kelly today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, you both. Have a great night.
Thank you.